Hi, I'm Gary Jenkins, and welcome to my show. Boy, do I have a special treat for you today. I know you guys are used to me painting flowers all the time, but today I'm going to paint a bald eagle. Yeah, look at that guy up there. Whoa, we've got all kinds of wonderful color. We have this color back in here is ultramarine blue. We have some siennas and oranges. And look at that expression on his face. Let's try to get that expression. Also, we have our feathers kind of coming down to the bottom and fading away. So we do that so that all of the center of interest stays right up in here, around the eye and the beak. They say the eye is the entrance to the soul, and so we want to spend a little time on the eye to make sure we get that in, because everybody that looks at a portrait of anything, they look at the eye first and then they travel on. So it looks like it's going to be two bald guys up here doing their thing for you today. Let's look at the canvas up here. We have a canvas already started because you know I don't have a lot of time up here. I use a projector to project the image up on the canvas, trace it off, and put your little drawing on there. And then this back here, this is acrylic. I put that on and let it dry. Very important to take some of the acrylic and brush it into the head so we don't have a hard edge. The pattern will be in the book for you guys that are worrying about how to get that on. This color back in here is ultramarine blue. And this is wet. You can see it on my finger. So and this black, first of all, like I said, I started with acrylic, which is dry, and then I went in with black oil around here so that it is wet. You can see it. That's so that when I bring my feather work out, it'll hit that black and sort of fade, give me a nice soft edge. We don't want any hard edges up here. That's ultramarine blue, a little shot over here where we have some white, just to give me a little highlight. We might punch that up later or just leave it alone. Let's come down to the palette, and we're going to start out. We're going to take a little touch of our ultramarine blue, a little touch of black. And what this brush is a filbert brush, rounded corners. I'm using good old oil paint up here. A lot of times I forget to tell you. I'm going to get a little more black in there. That looks like a little too much blue. And we want to get this nice dark in here. Notice how I kind of roll the brush to get these little edges coming in. We want to make sure we get that nice frown. I'm going to put a little dark here. There's a little dark, teeny little separation up in there. And I'm going to take a little more ultramarine now. Come up here. And I'm actually painting out into the background a little. Now you can't see it because it's disappearing. It almost looks like the black and the dark I'm putting on are all the same value. So what I'm going to do is take a little aqua blue, and we're going to lighten that up just a little bit, not much, because that's in shadow, just to bring that edge out just a little. Okay, and then we're going to come in here and bring out just a little hint in there. Not too much. We don't want to scream and holler at people. Now we're going to come up because we have our nice dark in here. Oh, and we're going to just kind of pull that down. Oh, another thing I forgot to tell you, on the surface here, I have a little bit of linseed oil to help my strokes flow across. You can see how it's sort of drifting into nothing here. That's because there's linseed back here, but it's a very faint coat. Many times we borrow color, and we're going to put that down here because there is a little shadow that comes in here. And here, borrowing some of that dark, putting it in. I already have the dark in here, which is acrylic, and around the outside edge, just a little bit. Coming around. Now, you notice the stroke is just kind of hit, because there's a lot of texture in this old bird. Then, we're going to switch brushes. I'm going to come on down to the palette. We'll pick up our little round brush. We're going to take some good old white. The white that I use is titanium white. And why do I use titanium? Because the titanium has the best covering power of all the paint. So we want that in there. A little shadow. I'm going to take a little point. Now, here's a little trick. We're going to come in and pick up white by taking the brush straight in and straight out. What that does, it puts a little buildup of paint beyond the hair, okay? Now, so when we come in and we want to put a little dot, it puts a wonderful little highlight. Maybe we'll get a little more. You see? We don't want a big blobby highlight in there. Let's come in. This is great painting to work on. I do a lot of floral painting, so it's good to get away and paint something a little different. I'm adding a little halftone. Halftone is found between the dark and the light. And I'm going to borrow paint and come on up here, keeping the darkest dark underneath, coming up. And that linseed is really helping me get this little halftone. Notice the brush. Practice your brush work. It's back and forth and up and down. Look at that, in and out. Don't use the same stroke all over the place, but vary your stroke. Now we're going to wipe the brush in some, let me tell you what I have here. This is just some good old, it's not Terp, it's odorless medium, or odorless, what is this? Odorless thinner. Catherine just yelled out, it's odorless thinner. This is medium to help the paint spread. So we have odorless thinner. And make sure you have a cap on yours, so when you're not using it, you can close it up. All right. Now let's get some of this in here. Kathy, by the way, is going to be doing some paintings later on. This is really a wonderful painting that Catherine's going to be doing on one of the shows coming up. And you can see it over here. This is a good old rooster painting. What I really like about this rooster painting is all the wonderful red color. And look at that border she put on there. Is that different or what? A little butterfly up in the corner. And this frame, it's not an elegant frame. It's just an El Cheapo frame, but it has kind of a barnwood finish on it. And look at the background. So we're playing the warm colors against cool. I tell you, it doesn't get any better than that. Look at that butterfly up there. She paid a lot of attention to the butterfly. It wasn't just thrown in. And look at the little checkerboard. And you notice the checkerboards are not perfect. They're just a little rough on the edges to give it sort of an antique-y old look. We don't want it perfect. A little border going around. I love this painting. Gee, wow. How come Catherine gets to do with all the fun stuff? Well, sorry, Eagle. Didn't mean to get you upset. Whew. And didn't mean to get you upset either. This is a little eagle that just comes in to watch me paint Daddy. And what do you think of the painting? Is it doing any good? Well, yeah. Well, thank you very much. Oh, yeah. Well, boy, you just keep talking, don't you? Thank you. I'm going to put you on the table, and maybe at the end you can tell me how well I painted your daddy. Yeah. He's going to sit right there, right behind my brushes. How are we doing up here? Okay, let's get on that old beak. We're going to use a little, I have already pre-mixed some sienna and orange. I'm going to come up here and lay this color in. Now I know it's dark, but it has to be to start with. And the old beak comes to a little point, not a point, it's a little blunt on the edge, right down here. You don't want to make his beak pointed. I'm going to take a touch of black just to darken it, just a hair. And we have a little bit of dark right. Yeah, that's perfect. See that? And a little dark over here. Now, don't rush the brush. Take your time. I really, really, really like this painting. Up in here. Notice how I just kind of turn the brush to the side. Get a lot of this little rough stuff going. We're going to come down and pick up some aqua blue, maybe a little touch of white. There's a lot of color in the beak. Whew. And we're going to have a little stuff right in here. Turn the brush to the side. Yeah. So we're playing cool color against warm, but don't blend it in because their beak is used for everything. They're a bird of prey. They come down and they swoop down. They pick up the fish out of the lake and they hold it in their mouth. Their mouths are used for building their nests, everything. So it gets a little gnarly. But look how I'm twisting that brush around. Can you see it? So I get that gnarly stroke work in there. Yeah. If you shake a lot on the edge, just push down a little heavier on your brush. It'll keep you from shaking all over the place. A little highlight down in here. Oh, yeah. Now we're going to come down and pick up white. Now our white, we want it to have a little bit of a glow. So let's pick up a little yellow. Put with that white, not a lot, just a little. And we'll put that up there. Look at that. Can you see that go in? Make sure you use paint that has plenty of covering power, because if you don't, you won't get all these, the color covering the other color underneath. You'll find that paint that has a little pigment, well, actually, you'll get a kind of a sticky feel. It kind of sticks to it. Instead of just slipping along, it sticks, gives you a little resistance, which gives you more control over your brush. Watch this one. Whew, look at that. We're going to lighten that little edge up just a little bit more. Just a shot. Good stuff. How you doing? Let's get it. I want to make sure I get that white on there. Many times, you guys, you'll have to, I'm just picking up a little more cyan, a little touch of ultramarine blue, but not much in there. And let's darken it up right here. There's a little edge that comes across. Down. You see that? And there's a little shadow. See, pay attention to the detail. It's so important. Now, we have some hard edges in there, so let's just get in there and soften up those hard edges. Now, I'm doing it just kind of patting it because I don't want to lose my texture. So I pat. There's a little orange and there's a little yellow in there. And we're going to take some of that and pat it. I'm turning my brush so I get strokes that are uneven. I don't want one stroke mimicking the previous stroke. So I get a variety of strokes by constantly turning this brush as I'm hitting the canvas. Let's get a little more, a little dark in there. Looks like it's darker. Let's take a little black, ultramarine blue. And I want to get this mouth right. It comes in there and kind of disappears down. That's better. Let's kind of clean that edge up a little. Cool stuff. Now, we have hard edges up in here. I know we'll get that in a minute. Clean that brush off in our thinner. And we're going to take a little... See, we have that dark meets the light. We need a little transition, so we're going to put a little dark in there. So now we just made the transition from the dark to the light. You don't want to just jump in there and go from dark to light without a transition happening. Keep it soft. Now right in here, we're going to hit it again, hit it again, hit it again, and boom, 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 boom. Hit it, honey, hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it. And this guy will come around. He's already looking good. Let's back off from this guy. Yeah. And, all right. Now, we're going to get some texture right in here, which is it's just by hitting it and twisting the brush. These are little teeny little feathers way inside, right about so. We just kind of hit it to get some texture going right in here. I use paper towels all the time, so I'm wiping on my towel because I want a dry brush. I want to blend by hitting it with a dry brush. Yes. Okay, remember I had some linseed on there. Let's get, the important thing here, and I see a lot of people doing paintings of birds and what have you. It's very important to spend time with the detail. I don't have a lot of time up here, you guys. But I want you to spend a lot of time with the eagle, getting all of the detail, really study it. Let's get some white up in here. White is no medium, it's very dry. Now, this is where people run into trouble, is bringing the white down into the dark. You don't want to take a brush and blend it, because we're going to come in there and show, actually, can you see? Oh, you see that? Yeah, you see it. You see it. You see that little stuff happening? That's where it's at. And we're going to come around this side. And there, I have a lot of white on my brush. I'm going to take my towel, wipe some of that white off, and come back in here. And now I'm going to scoot out. So this is really, you've heard of wet into wet. This is really wet into wet. We're going to take our titanium white and hit it again. Look at that covering power. It's not just mushing into nothing. I wouldn't be able to do this if the paint was all just soft, mushy paint. But just keep wiping the brush and keep blending and working. Taking our white up. Oh, you know what I forgot? Let's put a little touch of orange with the white, just to warm it up. You might not even know it's in there, but it does warm it up a bit. In a minute, I'm going to switch over to a larger brush. Look at that. Look. You see how I'm twisting and turning that brush? Yeah, I bring it up. So the brush work, oh, it's so important, you guys. Coming out with the edge of the brush. Now remember, at the beginning, I said I had some black back here on the background. That is why I'm getting a softer look to the outside feathers. I'm going to take a large brush down here. This is a biggie. And we're going to take and pick up some medium. Whoa, I had some black in there. Let's clean that off. Woohoo. Black on my brush from when I was putting the black on the background, and I didn't clean it off. Keep your brush clean. Okay, now let's take a little yellow, maybe some yellow and orange mixed together and white, and mix it into our white. Let's see if that's too much. No, that's not bad. Just a hint of yellow. Now, using the big brush, I'm going to use that. Now, why am I using the big brush? It keeps you from getting too much detail in your feather work. Now, it looks like I had too much yellow, so I'm going to get in there and really pile some paint in there to get rid of it. There we go. Look at the texture. Yes, that's what we want. Now watch me come out. Yeah, come on down. Come on down. We got some feather work up in here using this side. Now here I am patting it to bring it in. Yes. Woo. Bring that shadow, soften it up. Bring it out. Bring it out. Yes. Look at that guy. Yes, let's take some medium. And our white with a little touch of yellow, not too much. Get it in. And out. Turn the brush to the edge, to the end. Let's back off so we can see. I want to see the whole birdie, the whole eagle, because I'm going to be working all over this thing. It's important that we see the whole thing. Let's get. Now, feather work. This is so important. You notice now I'm just putting in white with a touch of yellow. I'm going to take that. Now, this is wet. Before I went on the air here for you, I wet that down. Now watch. You see? How do you bring this out and twist and turn? This is where people get all messed up. This is wet up in here. I have some black and ultramarine, and I'm bringing that out. Twisting that brush back and forth. If you use a little brush, it keeps everything from being too mechanical. It keeps it loose and free. So it looks, look at this. Watch this stroke. I come down and I turn. Can you see? That's all. And I'll even grab some of that blue and come on up with it. Yes. Now he's coming alive. He's saying, do me good. Do me good. Look at it go. Now, look at me come out into the dark. Just letting, it's so important, this bottom part. to keep stroking. Very light touch. And let the feathers blend out into nothing. You see? No, look at the dark. Remember, I had black on the back. Oil paint. First was acrylic. Then I went over about 2 inches around with some black. And some of that's coming inside, giving me some half tones inside. Yes. Okay, look way up at the top. Let's come down and pick up some aqua blue and a touch of white. Not a lot of white. We have just an accent. Look what this accent does. You see? Can you see? Can you see how subtle that blue is? Oh, it's so subtle. It's just sitting in there. Let's go after a little more detail up here. We'll take a touch of blue, ultramarine blue, maybe a little of that sienna. Try to clean it up a little bit. Now again, you have more time. You know. Okay. In there. I get very quiet when I'm doing detail. Sometimes you have to wait for your painting to tack up before you can get a lot of detail work in it. Let's take our white. Still using our big brush now. And back in. We have little feathers coming out of here. Now I have some hard edges. You do have a blending brush, which we can use. Which can blend some of those hard edges out. If we wanted to put in, we have a little time, we could take our ultramarine blue, touch of black. And let's get a little more of that blue on the old brush. And we'll bring some of that dark up. But as I'm bringing it up, you notice I'm twisting and turning that brush. Getting all this neat stuff. Don't just have white. If you get too much white, the poor guy, he looks like an albino. I'm going to go back up here, because many times when you put your light in, it pushes the dark back. And the dark wants to be part of everything. Black and ultramarine blue. I want a nice strong shadow into there. Yeah. Yeah. How we doing? All right. Oh, this edge, right? We have an edge on his beak. I've got so many brushes in my hand. Right here. You see where that light meets the dark? It's a really pretty sharp edge. It doesn't have any transition color. So let's take and put a little transition right in there. And what that does, it softens up that edge so it's not so hard. We'll get rid of the hard edge there. Okay, now let's back off and see how we're doing. Anything we're leaving out? The little boy looks good. Again, of course, it could use probably a little more detail in there. This will be in the book for you guys, so with a lot more detail than what I have here. But look, as it tacks up, you see how we can go in and get this little extra little stuff going? Feather work. Yeah. And it takes practice to do the feather work, I know. But you practice. And now, the last strokes we put on are very strong strokes. Remember, the last thing we do is the first thing people see. So let's get some strength in our painting. Yes. Cool, cool, cool. What am I leaving off up here? I don't want to leave you guys and go, oh, why didn't I do this? Or why didn't I do that? So a little more dark. Way up here. Wouldn't hurt. Let's try to get a little more dark. Okay. Just a hint. Okay, well, again, you guys have more time to spend, and all I'm doing is I'm like a road map. I'm just showing you the way to go. Well, what do you think, little birdie? Did I paint Daddy nicely? Tell me. Yeah? Well, thank you. Oh, thank you very much. Well, I like the painting, too. And you want to say goodbye to everybody? See you next time, and don't forget to smell the roses. Bye-bye.
Wilt u leren schilderen, net als Gary Jenkins? Bestel dan nu de schilderset, samengesteld door Gary Jenkins zelf.
I have personally selected the finest paints for this exclusive set.
De allerbeste olieverf, medium, verdunner, kwaliteitskwasten, een instructieboekje en als bonus een prachtige instructie-dvd. Vanaf €149 heeft u deze prachtige set in huis. Bestel nu en ga naar omroepmax.nl.
Actuele onderwerpen, het zijn zinnige onderwerpen waar gewoon een duidelijke behoefte aan is.
Max moet blijven bestaan en ze moeten gewoon een stem hebben in Hilversum.